Okay, thank you so much for joining us on the bright side once again. We've been talking about wounding and wound healing. Do you know wound healing or delayed wound healing is a $20 billion problem in this country and a leading cause, or associated anyway, with mortality and morbidity? Big problem. It's associated with nutritional deficiencies. It's linked to the aging process. It's got a connection to immune diseases and immunity, just poor health. Even if you don't have a wound, as we've been saying, it's just good to practice good wound healing techniques, even if you don't have a wound, because of the relationship between degeneration, degenerative diseases, accelerated aging, poor health, and wounds. The same nutritional supplements that you use to help speed up the healing of a wound can also help build bone, build muscle, reverse degenerative disease. Same strategies like taking care of your digestive system and blood sugar system apply to wound healing and also apply to staying healthy. Yesterday we talked about scleroderma, which is a really interesting autoimmune disease where the cells that make fibers, wound-closing fibers, go haywire, go nuts, and they can leave big patches of scar tissue. They can form on the skin, causing a hardening of the skin, scar tissue underneath the surface of the skin, causing a hardening of the skin. The name scleroderma actually means hardening of the skin. If you've ever seen a keloid, which is a type of a really big scar that forms on the surface of the skin, that's kind of what it looks like inside the body when you have this condition of fibrosis. Doctors will tell you they don't know what causes fibrosis. They'll tell you they don't know what causes scleroderma. And it should come as no surprise to anybody who understands the medical model or who follows the medical model. Doctors don't know how to deal with a lot of stuff. Doctors will call a lot of stuff mysteries because to them it's a mystery. Medicine is helpless at the level of a sick cell. So if all disease is cell disease, medicine is helpless at pretty much all disease. How do you like that? Medicine is absolutely helpless and useless. Modern medicine, the paradigm that we honor and we respect and we deify and we worship, is absolutely useless at the level of a cell. Of course, we know that's not a problem because the divine force, through our free will, can take care of anything at the level of a cell. Don't need a doctor, don't need a drug. You can't use a doctor, you can't use a drug, but we can do things ourselves. The anti-scleroderma protocol, what you're going to do to take care of scleroderma is the same thing that you do when you have to take care of cancer or heart disease or acne or nail fungus or anything, really. The body breaks down generically. The body breaks down the same way. It may show up differently, but the breakdown is occurring at the cell level. Of course, if the body breaks down generically, it means it heals generically too. No matter what you're dealing with, it's basically the same thing. No matter what you're dealing with, the healing process, the healing protocol involves fixing your cells, correcting digestive issues, using probiotics. The Biolumin Nightly Essence is my favorite. Using the ultimate enzymes, you get double benefits with the ultimate enzymes. You get digestive benefits and you get anti-inflammatory benefits. Keep this in mind. You can use your ultimate enzymes between meals for anti-inflammation and for pain relief. You're always going to want to make sure you're on the Mighty 90 essential nutrients, sick or not. Especially if you're not feeling well, especially if you're dealing with some kind of degenerative health issue. We made it so easy for you at Longevity. Get on the Healthy Star Pack. It's the Mighty 90 Essential Nutrients. It'll cost you $100 a month or $120 a month or so. If you sign up with a $10 fee, you can get your products at the wholesale price. You're going to want to stabilize your blood sugar no matter what your health issue is. Alzheimer's disease, Parkinson's disease, scleroderma, autoimmunity. You're going to want to stabilize your blood sugar by eating less sugar, first of all, upping your protein intake, and making sure you're using the Sweeties, chromium and vanadium, and the Beyond Tangy Tangerine. Deep breathing, so important. Don't underestimate the importance of inhaling oxygen, exhaling carbon dioxide, exercising a little bit, not a lot. You don't need a membership at the gym. You need a little rebounder. Take you about 2 minutes a day to exercise. Do you know that it only takes you 2 to 5 minutes a day to get a good exercise workout in? 2 to 5 minutes. And it doesn't cost you anything if you have a rebounder. Heck, you can use stairs to get a good exercise. You can even get a good workout by standing up slowly and sitting down slowly. If you're overweight or if you're obese, if you're really sick, you can still stand up and sit down really, really slowly once or twice a day. That's plenty of exercise for some folks. There's all kinds of non-toxic strategies that we can do ourselves without doctors, without drugs, without insurance companies, without me, without Pharmacist Ben, without any pharmacist. You can do it yourself. This is the empowering message that I really want people to understand. This is why I do this program. This is a program of empowerment that says we can take care of our health issues, and it doesn't take a lot because the body and the divine force work together. The body is meant to be healthy through exploiting or leveraging the divine force. that has the healing process, that is built into the healing process. Most scleroderma patients, in fact, most autoimmune disease patients are women. 70 to 80% of scleroderma patients are women. Why? Well, given estrogen, the female hormone, which is not really only a female hormone, but women produce lots of estrogen, given estrogen's role in inflammation and stimulating the immune system, the fact that many of the victims, the sufferers of autoimmune diseases like scleroderma are women should come as no surprise, especially when it comes to the secretion of fibers. Estrogen, female hormone estrogen, is a growth hormone. It's designed to grow a baby. That means it's going to increase the extrusion of fibers, of connective tissue fibers. And it's actually used as an anti-aging hormone. There's many dermatologists who will recommend pharmaceutical estrogen taken orally as a treatment for wrinkles, as a treatment for anti-aging. A lot of dermatologists and naturopaths even, and alternative health practitioners will recommend using estrogen as an anti-aging or anti-wrinkle hormone. Now, fact is, estrogen happens to be extremely toxic, at least in some cases. Not so much estrogen as the way estrogen is processed that creates toxicity. So if you are using hormone replacement therapy for anti-aging or for keeping your skin looking better, you're going to want to be a little bit careful about that. If you're on HRT therapy, hormone replacement therapy, it becomes extra important that you take care of your digestive health, fat metabolism, probiotics, and liver health, because all of these systems are involved in how estrogen gets broken down, and estrogen can get broken down into some pretty toxic byproducts if your liver's not operating correctly, or you don't have good bacteria, enough good bacteria, have an intestinal problem. Anybody on HRT, well, everybody needs the Biolumin Nightly Essence, but if you're on HRT, it's extra important that you use the Biolumin Nightly Essence because of probiotics' very important role in helping process estrogen. But when it comes to scleroderma, when it comes to wrinkles, when it comes to anti-aging, there's another interesting way that you can use estrogen. I'll tell you what that is when we come back from our break. I'm Pharmacist Ben. You're listening to The Bright Side on the Genesis Communication Network. Okay, our number today, 855-660-4261. If you've got questions about health or nutrition or prescription drugs, we can help you out. Of course, if you've got questions about the longevity products or ingredients or formulations or skincare, we can help you out there as well. Okay, so estrogen is involved in the immune process. Most autoimmune disease sufferers, most patients who have scleroderma or lupus or thyroiditis, Hashimoto's thyroid, etc., are women. This is thought to be due to the fact that estrogen plays such an important role in the inflammatory process and in the immune system process. Estrogen is a fiber-inducing hormone. It induces the growth of fibers. That means it's involved in wound healing, but it also means it's involved in fibroses. Uterine fibroids are often caused by excess estrogen. Anytime you have excess growth of tissue, you want to think about estrogen, whether it's cysts or whether it's fibroids or whether it's polyps, whatever kind of excess growth that you're dealing with. Focus on estrogen and balancing out estrogen. Progesterone is the best way to balance out estrogen. You can use progesterone in a cream. In fact, I recommend progesterone cream for anybody dealing with what's called estrogen dominance, which can be marked by fibrosis and cysts and fibroids or PMS issues. If you have estrogen dominance, in addition to using progesterone cream, you want to make absolutely positively sure that you're using probiotics and digestive support. It's so important to make sure that you're processing estrogen correctly. A lot of the problems that are blamed on estrogen are really related to the breakdown products of estrogen. And the breakdown products of estrogen accumulate when we don't process estrogen correctly. Bile is extremely, extremely, extremely important for the processing and elimination of estrogen. If you've had your gallbladder removed, you got to be extra, extra careful that you're using progesterone cream and probiotics and fat metabolism strategies. Vitamin A and vitamin E can help balance out estrogen as well. If you have your gallbladder, keep it. Don't let any boneheaded medical professional, ignoramus medical professional tell you you don't need a gallbladder. If you take your gallbladder out for anything aside from cancer, you are really, really playing with fire and increasing your risk for all kinds of problems down the road. Now, estrogen also has, because of its ability to induce the growth of fibers, estrogen has a reputation for being an anti-aging hormone, and to a certain extent that's correct. Estrogen is involved in stimulating the production of collagen, and as estrogen levels drop, skin tends to thin. Dermatologists will sometimes recommend hormone replacement therapy using estrogen to help keep the skin from wrinkling. I'm not sure if I would go I don't think I'd recommend that at all, especially considering the relationship between estrogen and estrogen metabolites to strokes and heart disease and cancer, etc. I can remember as a young pharmacist dispensing estrogen vaginal cream, which is obviously for menopausal issues, but I remember using it or dispensing it as a facial cream. Estrogen vaginal cream as a facial cream. Doctors were recommending it to keep wrinkles from happening, and indeed you can use estrogen topically in this way. It's probably better if you're going to use estrogen to protect your skin and prevent wrinkles. It's probably better to use estrogen in a cream rather than to take it orally. The logic, of course, being if it's going to help build up the skin in the genitals, which is really what it's for, vaginal atrophy, it's going to do the same thing for your facial skin. Now, whether it works or not, I can't say. I've never really seen any tremendous benefits from folks using estrogen vaginal cream on their face. But clearly systemic estrogen, it does have some fiber-secreting benefits. Systemic estrogen from inside the body is secreted out of the ovaries pre-menopause, out of the female reproductive system. And then after menopause, estrogen is supposed to be secreted by the adrenal glands. However, if we're burdening our adrenal glands, if we're dealing with adrenal fatigue or adrenal stress, if we're eating too much sugar, if we've got nutritional deficiencies, especially deficiencies in the mighty 90 essential nutrients like vitamin C and zinc, we can run into problems with the adrenal glands, meaning we're not going to be making as much estrogen. So after menopause or even during menopause, if you want to help protect yourself from some of these problems associated with deficiencies in estrogen, and that, by the way, includes hot flashes, and that includes diabetic or blood sugar issues, includes wrinkles and thinning skin, you'll probably be a lot smarter focusing on adrenal health than to take pharmaceutical estrogen. You guys who are considering hormone replacement therapy, if your doctor's trying to convince you to use hormone replacement therapy, in my opinion, you'd be a lot better off focusing on the adrenal glands, your body's stress glands, which are so burdened and so fatigued by our 21st century lifestyle. You'd be a lot better off focusing on adrenal health issues than using hormone replacement therapy. How do you focus on adrenal health issues? Well, lots of ways. Blood sugar is probably one of the most important, using the sweeties, getting off of sugary kinds of foods, and staying away from pastas and breads and rice and potatoes, all the foods we beat up on the program. Using vitamin C, super important for the adrenal glands, 1,000 milligrams a day minimum. You'll get that in the Beyond Tangy Tangerine. But you could take more. You could take 2,000 or 3,000 milligrams of vitamin C. Zinc is probably the most important mineral for the adrenal glands. Everybody should be using 50 milligrams, 50 milligrams of zinc picolinate a day, in my opinion, especially if you're dealing with adrenal issues. Always balance your zinc with copper. 50 milligrams of zinc and about 2 to 4 milligrams of copper every day. And as I say, vitamin A and E, which are important for balancing out estrogen, those can also be important for the adrenal glands as well. Vitamin B12, super important for the adrenal glands. And of course, oxygen, deep breathing, is also important for adrenal health. Estrogen is a growth-inducing hormone. Its main role is to grow a baby. That means it's going to grow fibers as well. It's growing a human form. It's growing a human being. And a human form and a human being is largely made up of collagen fibers. Around 50% of the body form, of the human form, is connective tissue, and around 30% of the body is collagen. So obviously, if estrogen is designed by nature to grow a baby, to grow a human form, it's going to be involved in the secretion of fibers. So it makes sense that one of estrogen's main roles in the body is to stimulate the production of collagen, connective tissue fibers, and it also stimulates the growth of cells. Now, estrogen is a mixed bag, as I say. There's a lot of negative literature on the use of internal estrogen, and it is quite a potent hormone. Even if you're taking a prescription drug, hormone replacement therapy, they're usually dosed on in micrograms. That is 125 micrograms, 0.125 milligram dose. That's usually a standard dose of something like Premarin, which is a standard estrogen. That's a tiny, tiny, tiny little dose. And it's even, in the body, it's secreted in even smaller amounts, nanograms, billionths of a gram. All right, I'm Pharmacist Ben. We're coming back with more good health information and your phone calls as well. You're listening to The Bright Side on the Genesis Communication Network. All right, we're back on The Bright Side. I am Pharmacist Ben. We're talking about wound healing and estrogen. On our next program, we'll talk to you about some substitutes for estrogen, some non-toxic versions of estrogen that you can use over the counter. And then we'll continue talking about arginine and arginine's breakdown product, or arginine's metabolite, which can be used as rocket fuel. How do you like that? And that also has a very important role to play when it comes to biological health and when it comes to wound healing as well. Rocket fuel, I love that. All has to do with the fact that nitrogen is so explosive. We'll talk about that on our next Bright Side episode as we continue talking about wound healing and anti-aging. Got an interesting story here from the Journal of Investigative Dermatology. Apparently, acute psychological stress may be involved in promoting wound healing. Now, we always beat up on stress, and we talk about how important it is to control the stress response, but as it turns out, acute stress as opposed to chronic stress may actually have some wound healing benefits. A little bit of stress, as it turns out, may be a good thing. We know that a little bit of stress is involved in muscle building, and a little bit of psychological stress, as it turns out, may actually promote wound healing. That's according to an article, a study that was published online yesterday in the Journal of Investigative Dermatology. Quote, under chronic stress, the same natural occurring steroids damage the protective functions of normal skin and inhibit wound healing, but during acute or shorter intervals of stress, it turns out that there are beneficial effects for inflammatory disorders and acute injury in both mice and humans, according to Dr. Peter Elias, senior investigator from the University of California, San Francisco, professor of dermatology. Acute stress actually may have some benefits. And we always talk about the distinction between acute and chronic stress. A little bit of stress is actually a good thing, as it turns out. And Friedrich Nietzsche said that in the 19th century. He said a little stress is actually a good thing. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And as it turns out, that has got applications when it comes to wound healing as well. Okay, 855-660-4261 is our number on the Bright Side. And I think it's time to hit our phones. Let's take our first phone call of the day. Let's go to Miami and welcome Grace to the Bright Side. What's up, Grace? How you doing this morning?
Yes, good morning. I'm well. I hope you're well, too.
I am. Thank you for calling. What's going on?
I'm calling. I believe I heard on one of your archived calls that you told somebody, I don't know if it was on a call or maybe you saw them in a conference or something, about a pet vitamin, Vitamol, something like that, and they told somebody to take it and the pet was doing very well afterwards.
Yeah. You want some more information on that?
Of course.
I think that's my friend Bruce who's doing that. I don't know if Bruce is listening. If you're out there, Bruce, he's putting together a vitamin product for pets, and I think that was the fullerene product. Are you sure it was called Vitamol?
I'm not sure. That's why I wasn't sure what it was, because I was Googling and I couldn't find it.
You know what, Grace? That's not my product. That's something somebody else's, and I'm not sure what you're talking about. I'll tell you what I'm going to do for you. Would you mind sending me an email, ben@ksco.com? Sure. Put your phone number on there, and I'll have to look into that. I think you're talking about the fullerene product. My friend Bruce is putting that together, and a couple other folks that I know back east are doing that, but I'm not sure if that's exactly what you're talking about. But if you send me an email, I'll do some research, and then I'll get back to you. And for the listeners who are interested, I'll talk about that on our next episode if I get some information for you. I wish I had more.
Yeah.
I don't know off the top of my head. I'm sorry.
I just also wanted to say to the listeners what you were talking about, PMS and all the essential fatty acids. Yeah. They must do that because I've done it and it works.
Oh, praise God.
It totally works.
Thank you,
definitely,
Grace.
Everybody, if they do, give that a shot because it's fantastic.
Thank you so much, Grace. Appreciate you sharing that.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you very much.
Have a beautiful day. Yeah, when you got PMS issues, folks, or estrogen issues, female hormone issues, think fats, essential fatty acids, EFAs, ultimate EFAs, and also fat metabolism. And when you think fat metabolism, think probiotics, the good bacteria, as well as, of course, the ultimate enzymes from Youngevity and the biolumin nightly essence. And you know what else? The Z radical, biolumin nightly essence, Z radical, and the ultimate enzymes. And you know what else about bile in the gallbladder? I know we've said this before, but I'll just reiterate. You need bile to absorb iron. You need bile to absorb selenium. You need bile to absorb zinc. Bile and the fatty system are important and magnesium are important for the absorption of minerals, including calcium and magnesium and selenium. There's a very, very important relationship between fat metabolism and mineral absorption. All right. Fat metabolism and mineral absorption go hand in hand, which means if you've had your gallbladder taken out, or if you have a liver problem, or you have a gallbladder problem, or you have an intestinal problem, or you have any digestive impairment that's affecting your ability to process fats, if you have fat malabsorption syndrome, you're not going to be absorbing your minerals either. So take your minerals with fatty foods, take your minerals with the ultimate enzymes, take your minerals with the Z radical and with lecithin and with bile salts and with all the fat supporting supplements, the biolumin nightly essence, and use liquid minerals wherever possible. This is one of the cool things about the Beyond Tangy Tangerine. It's liquid minerals, and liquids are always best when it comes to supplements, but when you can liquefy your fatty supplements, especially if you're dealing with fat metabolism issues or fat malabsorption issues, you're going to get better absorption of those minerals. Remember, there's a very important and underappreciated and understated link between fat metabolism, fat absorption, and mineral absorption as well. Okay, 855-660-4261 is our number. Mumtas in Texas. Is that how you say your name? Mumtas?
Yes,
Mumtas.
Ben. Hi.
Hi. How you doing? Mumtas. Is that Hindu or Indian?
Yes.
Mumtas. I like that.
It's Indian.
Indian. Beautiful name. How can we help you, ma'am?
Thank you. Okay, I've been suffering from skin issues for a long time. Like my skin will go dark and then it'll go light and dark and light. And
okay.
I have been very scared about vitiligo, so I went to the dermatologist in January, and he said to me, this is not vitiligo, but I think it is. He said, well, when you get older, the skin just changes. I said, I don't buy that.
Don't buy it. It's silly. Your skin, it's crazy. Yeah, your skin changes, but it's...
Yesterday, I noticed the skin between my thumb and my first finger in both the hands has gone pink, and that is vitiligo. I don't care if the doctor says not, it is. Because I went online and I looked at the people who have vitiligo.
And it's vitiligo.
And the skin turns pink. So
Okay, well, here's the deal. Vitiligo doesn't happen by itself. Vitiligo occurs with vitiligo is like the leaves on a tree. You know, it's if you got rotten leaves, I don't mean that to be gross or graphic or anything, but if your leaves are messed up, you got a problem with the roots. So vitiligo is a root problem and a trunk problem. Like all issues, it's a symptom. It's a sign. It's not a problem.
Yeah.
It's the sign of a problem. So how do you get to the root of it? How do you get to the trunk or the soil? Well, you got to look for other symptoms. Most especially digestive symptoms. For the listeners, vitiligo is an autoimmune disease where the immune system attacks itself. The immune system attacks the body. And in the case of vitiligo, it attacks the cells that make pigment. They're called melanocytes. Melanin means pigment, or melanin is pigment, and cyte means cells. Melanocytes are cells that make pigment. Vitiligo is a condition where the immune system attacks the melanocytes. The melanocytes become defective. They die. You don't make pigment. You get these patches. So here's the key. If it really is vitiligo, then you have an immune problem. And if you have an immune problem, more than likely you have a digestive problem. Now, you'll know you have a digestive problem by your digestive symptoms. So, Mumtas, do you have digestive symptoms? And don't try to answer right away, because you got to think about it and you're going to have to observe it. You may know, and that you're ahead of the game if you know, but you may not know, because these things go under the radar. So you're going to want to focus first and foremost on digestive health. That should come as no surprise to you, because you always want to focus first and foremost on digestive health, but especially with an immune system problem. Hang tight, Mumtaz. We'll finish up when we come back from our break. If you're on hold, stay there. We'll get to you as well. 855-660-4261 is our number. I'm Pharmacist Ben. We'll be back right after this. All right, we're back on the bright side. Mumtaz in Texas with vitiligo. Ma'am, Mumtaz? Mumtaz? Hello? Did we lose Mumtaz? I'm sorry if we lost her. Hello? Mumtaz? Okay, I guess we lost.
Hi.
Oh, there. Okay, good. I'm sorry. I thought we lost you. Okay, here's the deal. Vitiligo is an autoimmune disease. Anytime there's an autoimmune disease, you want to first focus on leaky gut syndrome or digestive issues. If you know you have digestive problems, you're ahead of the game. If you don't know if you have digestive problems, look for them. Find them. They're probably there. Don't make them up. You know, you don't want to fabricate them, but look for them. They're probably there. Don't pay attention to, don't go by the cliches. There's so many cliches when it comes to diet. Low protein, high protein, low carb, gluten-free. Don't go by cliches. Go by how your body responds to specific foods. And don't worry about allergy testing either. You guys considering allergy testing, they're a waste of money. You're the allergy test. Go by how you feel after you eat a food, your digestive symptoms. You can go by your vitiligo symptoms. If you notice you get your worst vitiligo when you go on a certain type of diet or you eat certain kinds of foods, those are all indicators of of specific foods that you want to stay away from. And then you want to use all the digestive support that we talk about on the program, especially the probiotics, the good bacteria. There's a very important connection between the immune system and good bacteria in the gut. I'd be using at least 6 biolumin nightly essence a day. You can use more, but at least 3 in the morning, 3 at night. Enzymes with your meals and apple cider vinegar. The Z radical, of course, is great for all digestive health issues. If you want to go a little bit, try a few extra things, look to the B vitamins. There's an interesting relationship between folic acid, especially, and a couple other of the B vitamins, and the skin and the immune system, and vitiligo for that matter. Vitamin B12 may have a role to play, and B12 is a digestive vitamin in the sense that you need to have a really powerful, robust digestive system to absorb vitamin B12. So if you're not making enough stomach acid, that may also cause a B12 deficiency. So look to using B12 supplements, or use the Beyond Tangy Tangerine, which will get you some B12, and then the Ultimate Enzymes, which will give you some betaine HCl, which is a good form of stomach acid, and then you could use apple cider vinegar after your meals also. So look for other symptoms, especially digestive symptoms. Focus on digestive health. And most importantly, Mumtaz, and anybody else dealing with vitiligo or skin condition, it's not a skin problem any more than rotten leaves on a tree are a leaf problem. You have an internal issue, and most especially it involves the digestive system and how you're absorbing and utilizing nutrients. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, can I ask you one thing?
Of course.
I was made to understand that it's also a copper deficiency. So how much copper?
It may be a copper deficiency. I find that unlikely, but it may be a copper deficiency. Most of us get too much copper, and more. We need zinc. Zinc and copper are in balance. But say it's a copper deficiency, I find that unlikely. Copper's involved in the production of melanin. Melanin is the pigment, but you don't have a problem making melanin. If you have vitiligo, you have a problem with the melanocytes. So this is why it doesn't make any sense to take iodine if you have hypothyroidism either, folks. But same idea.
I have hypothyroidism too.
Well, yeah, it's all the same deal, okay? You're not absorbing. So just like iodine is not a magic remedy for hypothyroidism, copper is not a magic remedy for pigment issues. The problem with the thyroid and iodine is you got thyroid cell issues. You don't have you may have an iodine deficiency. I don't want to say you don't have one, but that's not the real issue in hypothyroidism. It's a thyroxine issue. You're not making thyroid hormone. Regardless of the iodine, you're not making thyroid hormone. Same with the skin. It's not a copper issue. Yes, copper is involved in the production of pigment, but it doesn't mean you just take copper and now all of a sudden you're going to start making pigment again. You follow what I'm saying? So you got to work on the cells, nutriate the cells, heal the cells, make sure there's no toxicity at the cell level. You can't treat diseases by just taking a nutrient the way you take a drug. It doesn't work that way. That's called allopathic nutrition. And it's not quite as silly as plain allopathic medicine, but it's on the same order. It's in the same idea, the same vein. You can't just take copper and then your vitiligo goes away. You can't just take iodine and your hypothyroidism goes away. You got to work on the cells. In the case of vitiligo, you're working on the pigment cells, and that means the digestive system. That means nutrition, of course, including copper, but all the nutrients. And it means stabilizing the blood sugar, too, in the case of the thyroid, for you, Mumtaz. And by the way, vitiligo and hypothyroidism go hand in hand. So in the case of...
that's what I thought they
go hand in hand. That's why I told you to fix the digestive system. Guess what happens when you fix your digestive system? You improve your thyroid, too. And by the way, with hypothyroidism, your digestive system will be slower. And that's going to also compromise digestion. Of course it's going to happen. Focus on the foods, my dear. Focus on the foods and digestive support. And I didn't mean to...
Okay, can I ask you one thing? Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
Can I take B12 shots?
Sure. Absolutely. You can take...
And how much should the shots be when I go to my doctor? And
how much do they cost? How much do they cost?
No, how much dosage?
I don't actually. That's a great question, and I don't actually know the dose on B12 shots, but it's very. You don't need a lot of vitamin B12. It's dosed in the microgram quantity. But you know what? That's a great question because I actually don't know what the dose on B12 shots are. I imagine it's somewhere along the order of 1,000 micrograms, something like that, for a month's supply.
And, if you've had very early gray hair, like in the early 20s,
same idea, ma'am.
Is it also copper deficiency?
No, it's copper. It could be copper deficiency, but I would say more like copper absorption or hypothyroidism. Again, it's not necessarily frank deficiency. It could be, but that's not the first thing to look at. The first thing to look at is the absorption of copper out of the digestive system, and given the fact that you have a hypothyroid, that would probably be that would lead me to believe that you're having a digestive and an absorption issue. Not that copper's not important, and not that iodine's not important, by the way, but they're just not magical remedies for these kinds of health issues. They're very important, and I'm going to let you go now. I want to get to some other calls, okay? Thanks so much for your call, Mumtaz. I appreciate it, and God bless. Hope everything works out. It's not so much that these things aren't important. I'm not telling you copper's not important and iodine's not important. I'm telling you they're not magical remedies. Magical remedies are in the realm of doctoring. They're not in the, it shouldn't be in the realm of nutritional health. Nutritional health involves the mighty 90 essential nutrients, all of them. It involves making sure your digestive system is working correctly to absorb the mighty 90 essential nutrients, the Healthy Start Pack, the Beyond Tangy Tangerine, etc. Making sure your blood sugar is stable, making sure you're deep breathing correctly, and make sure you're using appropriate relaxation techniques to activate the relaxation nervous system. All right, let's see if we can get a couple more calls in. Cindy in Virginia, welcome to the Bright Side. God bless. What's up?
Good morning, Ben. I think you already answered some of my question.
Okay.
I was trying to call in about dry skin, and it kind of relates to what the previous lady...
It's exactly the same.
I can't pronounce her name.
Mumtas. Fats for dry skin, you want to do the whole fat absorption protocol that we just talked about. That means probiotics. That means vitamin A, vitamin E, your fatty vitamins. It also means making sure that you're using the ultimate enzymes after meals and apple cider vinegar after meals. Focus on fat absorption. You can use lecithin. I love lecithin. It's great for helping make cells. It's great for your brain, but it's also very important for fat absorption. Bile salts, very, very important. You'll get those in the ultimate enzymes. Just focus on fat absorption for dry skin. Use your ultimate EFAs and vitamin A and vitamin E as well. They're all very, very important. And make sure you're getting cholesterol. Do you know cholesterol is one of the most important elements in all of skin health? I put it in my wound healing cream so you can apply it topically to your skin. Make sure you're eating the cholesterol complex from eggs and from cheese and from dairy. Okay? I'm going to take one more call, Cindy, okay? Did we help you?
You did.
Okay, thanks so much. I want to see if we can get one more call in. Everybody's been holding for a long time here, so let's see. Margarie in Los Angeles, what's up?
Hi, Dr. Fuchs. My mother's 83 years old. She just had a stroke a couple of weeks ago. She was on the mighty 90s. However, she did have difficulty drinking her full dose of the BTT, so I tried to give her the Ultimate Classic. And, she had
have her sip on. She needs to sip on the BTT. I hope you weren't trying to give it to her all at once, because that is a big.
No, absolutely not.
Sipping on
it. She had a hard time, drinking all of that throughout the day for some reason.
She just didn't want to drink it.
I don't know what she's thinking. She's worried about her sugar intake too because it's sweet. I try to tell her, there's no sugar in it.
No sugar in it. Well, you can only do what you could do. You can only do what you could do. Go ahead.
She was pre-diabetic, and now they were giving her insulin in the hospital, and now they're lowering it down to 1 unit now.
How can I help you? Got about 30 seconds, Marjorie. How can I help you?
Okay, what can we do for her? She also has very high anxiety now, which she didn't have before.
Her body's under major stress. This is the problem. The problem is the body is freaking out. Remember, you got a stress nervous system that handles freakouts, handles emergencies, and you have a relaxation nervous system that's where the body heals and grows and recovers. Your mom is dealing with a major stress burden on the body. Her body thinks it's about to die. The body thinks it's about to be eaten by a lion or a tiger, and so it's clamping down on the blood pressure so she can run away from the tiger. It's not letting her sleep lest the tiger eat her while she's asleep, and it's not letting her heal so the energy can be diverted, her resources can be diverted towards running away from the emergency. You've got to calm the body down. Now, good nutrition is ultimately one of the most important things you could do, and that would be the Healthy Start Pack. It's a shame you can't get her to use the BTT, but at least get her to use the Ultimate Daily, which is the multiple vitamins, and then keep her on the rest of the Healthy Start Pack if possible. You want one good thing to do: slow, deep breathing, making sure slowly in through the nose, and then powerfully exhaling through the nose as well. There's so much more we could do, Marjorie. If you call us back on our next episode, I'll be glad to put you first up, and we'll take your calls. We'll take you first up. All right, that's all the time we have for today. Thanks for listening, folks. I'm Pharmacist Ben. Have a wonderful, beautiful day. We'll talk.